This is your host, Tom Wilmer, reporting from Los Gatos, California. Please join us as we visit with Greg Jenkins, the owner of Fleming Jenkins Winery in Los Gatos. This is such a legendary name. I've heard of your wines and your winery for a long time. Tell us about the history. When and how long ago did you first get an interest in wine and tasting?
Really developed the interest in wine tasting when I came to California from Texas as an intern and for my residency in medicine. Came to San Francisco. All the other interns and residents were really into California wines, and with my wife Peggy, we developed the interest back then and have followed things ever since. After training, we moved to Los Gatos. We lived in the same house now for 32 years, and along the way we realized when we go outside from our house we can look out and see other vineyards like Ridge and Mount Eden and other vineyards in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and we came up with an idea about 11 years ago. Hey, let's put in our own small backyard vineyard. So that's what we did.
Was it more to grow or to grow and produce?
It was mainly for growing. Perhaps it was just the landscaping aspect of it as well, too. It's something we thought would be really neat to have, and we live outside of the town of Los Gatos, up in the foothills, up at 1,400 feet. We had the choice, an acre of vines or an acre of apple trees, and we decided, well, let's put in the vines. We thought about, should it be Chardonnay or Pinot, and when we put it in 11 years ago, we decided, because we're consuming so much more of the Chardonnay, that we put in an acre of Chardonnay. So 650 vines.
And that worked out well?
It's worked out very well, yeah.
And ton per acre? How many tons?
Tons is usually, well, it started off at, less than a ton, for the first harvest, and now it's up to about 3.5, 4 tons.
And do you drop fruit, or is that the total?
No, we drop fruit along the way during the growing season. We look at each shoot and each vine individually and think about what's the proper crop load for that vine, for that shoot, and if we don't like it or if the clusters are too close to each other, we'll certainly drop fruit.
Let's back up to intern days. When you first started tasting wine in, 70s, early 70s? Yeah. What was hot? What did you like? And how has your palate evolved and changed from then?
Well, I think probably no doubt our palate has changed. Also, California winemaking has changed. That was back in the era where there was a lot of jug wines, and we certainly enjoyed them. It was brand new for me coming from Texas, and so we sort of came out of the wines of lesser quality, and then we started enjoying, wines of higher quality, the Charles Krug and, others.
Was there an epiphanous moment? Was there an aha moment when you went, wow?
Probably have to say no, because I think what we've done sort of been more evolutionary than revolutionary. So it didn't really have the aha moment. It was just something that was kind of an undercurrent in our very busy lives that we were aware of and appreciated and realized the fun and celebration that could be around wine or wine tasting. And so we just had that kind of role in our lives at that time.
Tell us about growing at your 1,400-foot location. It would be cooler, and you're very much coastal environment, right? So tell us about the flavor characteristics that you get.
Our vineyard's on a rocky hillside. The vineyard grows differently at the top of the hill as opposed to down at the bottom of the hill. Santa Cruz Mountains, we tend to have smaller clusters, smaller berries, but we think that adds to the flavor. We certainly have very nice warm days throughout the spring, summer, and going into the fall, but then we also have the marine influence, the coastal influence, so it does cool down at night, and probably most nights are about 57 degrees.
Your growing season is stretched out a bit because of that, right?
Yeah, I think so. Certainly compared to the, say, Central Valley is the other extreme, where it's hot in the day and hot at night, and the sugar levels in the grapes get really high really fast before the flavor comes on as much as it could.
Do you have a target, an ideal when you're ready to pick? What are you looking for? Bricks and biting the seed and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, well, we certainly do all those things, and I think as you come into harvest and start thinking about a harvest, it's a combination of both the art of harvest decisions and the science of harvest decisions. You can certainly look at the sugar levels or the bricks and look at the wine's pH, the acidity and the total acidity, and use that as a background, but also you're looking at the grapes themselves, the flavor. You look at the seeds and seed development and take a look at the weather and put all those factors together and come up with what you think is going to be a good day.
How about growing practices? Sustainable is such the buzzword today. Where do you fit in that scheme of consciousness?
Well, we're certainly sustainably farming. We're not organically farming. We're aiming in that direction. But as I mentioned, it's a rocky hillside vineyard, and the vines, by and large, have to struggle to make it. And so we certainly didn't want to start off organic from the beginning, because we knew that the vineyard wouldn't make it under those circumstances. But we're sustainable with the minimal use of pesticides and herbicides. Vineyard's just 50 feet from our front door, so I end up spending lots and lots of time on the vineyard, all the way from pruning through all the canopy management. I turn the irrigation on and turn the drip irrigation off, so we're out there totally hands-on.
What percentage is estate grown?
For our Chardonnay is 100%. That's the only source of the Chardonnay. So it's 100% Jenkins Vineyard, state-grown Chardonnay.
Describe the distinctive characteristics of your Chardonnay. What would be the memory?
Well, I think for us, you'll find a lot of fresh fruit and bright fruits: pear, melon, apple, pineapple, even a little banana. But because of we retain the acidity in the grapes, so it's got that nice, crisp, acidic backbone to it. And in the winemaking, we use French oak, but we try to have that all balance out so it's not overly oaked, and we've been very pleased with the way it's come out.
So it's very ideal summer wine then.
We think it's a great wine. It's summertime, any time of the year. Of course, you're talking to a winemaker, and of course, every wine they offer is just the best wine you ever could conceive. So you'll find that with every winemaker you talk to.
How about alcohols in the Chardonnay?
The alcohol is at 14.4, so we tend to harvest when the grape's a bit on the riper side. That's our winemaking style. That's what we look for. Yeast takes it from there to convert the sugars into alcohol, and it comes out to be whatever it is.
And total case production of your Chardonnay?
Chardonnay is only about a little more than 200 cases. It's usually between 200 and 225 cases.
Let's go red for a moment. I understand that you do some blends and some John Madden Ranch wine as well.
Well, that's right. We have 3 red wines. We have 2 Syrahs, a cooler climate Syrah from the Santa Cruz Mountains. We have our warmer climate Syrah from Football Hall of Fame, John Madden's vineyard in the Livermore Valley. And then we also have our 3rd red wine as a blend, a Cabernet blend from Napa Valley.
Tell us about the blend, what you do and how you do.
The blend is sourced from vineyards in the south end of the Napa Valley, and the current release is the 2006 blend. We call it Choreography, and it's a blend of 4 varietals, mainly Cabernet Sauvignon, but it has Merlot, Cab Franc, and Petit Verdot in it as well.
Talk a little bit about your wife, Peggy. She's not here right now. Is she involved in the winemaking and decision-making process in the winery?
Peggy does play an integral role in the winery. Now, she's not out there in the vineyards as much as I am with all of our blending decisions. She takes a role in that. She's certainly involved in our packaging and our marketing and public relations and sales efforts. She really enjoys it. And so this is something we're doing together as a family, and something we really enjoy.
Talk a little bit more about you as winemaker and your philosophy, your passion.
As a winemaker, what we want to do is to let the grapes express themselves the best way they can, and then for us to use as minimal input. From my training as a physician, I think there's an art and science to medicine. There's certainly an art and science to winemaking, and it's important to know when to use what.
Let's talk a moment about, back to your reds and the end product expression. Soft, tannins, robust, fruit forward.
Yes, I think we're probably more in the end of being more fruit forward. That's something that we look for and enjoy in wines, and people that come to see us seem to really appreciate that, with the aromas and flavors being easily detected as opposed to being on the subtle side.
Obviously, you get a lot of satisfaction out of what you do.
The satisfaction, I think, comes really in being involved in the whole process, from visiting vineyards, managing our own vineyard, thinking about the upcoming harvest, to being there, making those harvest decisions, bringing the fruit in, and then the steps you take through the winemaking process before the wine's ready to be bottled, make the decisions on how long to have it in barrel, make the decisions on when to bottle, and then after bottling, is this a wine we want to age in bottle for a while, or is it something we want to have come out relatively soon? And that's just all part of it. A lot of satisfaction seeing it in bottle, a lot of satisfaction when it's poured into the glass, and we're the only winery-owned taste room in Los Gatos, and we do a lot of things for nonprofits and charitable organizations as well.
Greg, this has been great. I've enjoyed this very much. Thank you, but we're out of time. Greg Jenkins, it's been a pleasure. The owner of Fleming Jenkins Winery in Los Gatos, along with your wife, Peggy Fleming. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
This is your host, Tom Wilmer, reporting for National Public Radio affiliates, KCBX serving San Luis Obispo, KSBX serving Santa Barbara County, and KNBX serving southern Monterey County.